coming at you with a long overdue video. In January of 2021, I made a couple meads. One of them was this right here. I made this with a tropical honey, and I also used dried cherries, cranberries, and raisins in it. And then I did kind of an experiment. My wife has issues with sulfites, so they can give her headaches, migraines. And so with this one, I used White Labs WL002 to bring it down with somewhat of a clean flavor, but so it wouldn't go drop as low. Now, it stayed a little higher than I'd really hoped. So at time of fermentation, the original gravity was 1.130, so substantially high, and it only went down to 1.040, and that puts it at 11.81% ABV. So this one's got some gusto. My wife will have a third of a glass and be very happy. And to stick with what I was trying to do with this, to not have the sulfites, I'm not going to put in the normal things. And so normally to kill the yeast and back sweeten, which I don't need to do in this case. And by the way, it tasted really amazing. I did make one mistake. I should have racked over one or two more times. Just the most minor off flavor, but most people probably won't notice it. Normally you're going to put in this, it's called Sorbistat K, but it's basically potassium sorbate. So I put this in because it will stabilize the mead and also partially kind of stop the yeast. To completely stop the yeast, you need to put in then the potassium metabisulfite. And that sulfite is what is the problem for my wife. Because this is stable at this point, 2.5, a little over 2.5 years along the way. This is, by the way, October, something like 6th or so, and 8th actually, October 8th. So that's 2 years and 9 months this has been aging. And so what we're going to do is just do the one part, the sorbate K, or potassium sorbate, which again, it will kind of kill some of the yeast off, but it's going to stabilize, and it also acts somewhat as a clarifying agent. This was already clear. I wish I'd shown you some earlier. It's going to clear it up even more. So we're going to go ahead and treat it with this. And quite frankly, at that point, I could rack off if there's any sediment at all, but I could actually go and bottle from there. So I'm going to go ahead and add this. I'm going to be adding this at a rate of a half a teaspoon per gallon. This is just shy of 3 gallons. So I'm going to just go basically with about 1.5 teaspoons, a little bit less, 1.25 teaspoons in here. So the reason I want to go a good month is I want to allow the opportunity for as much as possible of this to settle out and just to drop off in the end, and then also use the clarifying agent to clean that up. After about a month, I could go 2. I'll come back later, hopefully with a tasting, to make a complete video and show you how this turned out. So we're back again. This is the mead that was made with tropical honey, and I used the White Labs WL002, the British yeast ale. I'm going to rack it over to another glass bottle here. I'm going to let that sit a bit, and then we'll be bottling it. I really just don't trust putting any of the extra sanitizer in there. So what I've done is I've got a little cup here. I'm going to start the process. Let that kind of get cleaned out. Pinch it off. All right. Oh, it smells amazing. And we'll just move it on over. Because, you know, I'm going to go ahead and I'll try this on myself. This one's got a little bit more mud taste, and that had been cleaned out a little bit. Got a little bit of the sanitizer, but damn. So next time you'll see me, I'll be bottling this all up. Cheers. Well, it's been over 24 hours. Everything's been cleaned and sanitized, and I'm going to try to get this going one-handed. We'll see. Gotta clean the line out here first. Do a cup as usual. Alright. And that should have got taken care of all the sanitizer quite well. Oh, and I've got bottles that I cleaned the other day and sealed up in a box. So we're gonna get to it. Well, the first 13 bottles are all capped. So I'll finish this up, and the next time I see you, it's going to be to try this one. Cheers. So, here we are. I promised I would finally come back and talk about this. And you've seen the videos previous to this, but I needed a great volunteer here, so happy Colin's with me.
I like to bring things.
Because I just sometimes find it hard for me to review something I've made. So I trust Colin to give an unfettered opinion here. So is fettered the right word?
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
I'll be brutal.
I doubt it, but. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get this one cracked open. All right. What do you think about appearance, sir?
Oh, it's got a nice dark amber color. It's pretty clean. It's not really cloudy, so.
Why don't you put up the camera? Let them get a good look.
There you go. Look at that. There you go.
And I'm sure you've heard a bazillion times.
To it.
But this was made with a yeast so that it would not ferment down to like nothing, and I didn't have to kill yeast. It would leave lots of residual sugar, which there's a lot of residual sugar, as you'll see. And that way, Barbara can drink this without any concern of like sulfates or anything in it. So I'm now encouraged to continue with some of those experiments. It was also it was made with, I gotta say this right, tropical honey. Honey from bees that went into tropical flowers. And then I just took, which was an old historic kind of way of doing it because it's kind of like a yeast aid. I put in dried raisins, dried cherries, and dried cranberries.
Ooh.
So that gives it all the other flavors.
That sounds like a good combination.
All right. Well, cheers.
All right. Let's get a nose on it.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely get the honey right away. It's very clear that it's a mead, but I actually did get some of those fruits almost immediately as well. And there's a bit of a floral note to it. I'm trying to see if I pull out anything tropical. It's hard to say because that honey is such a strong aroma.
I'll have to have you try some of the honey after this. It's not what you think when you think of tropical honey.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm so used to nosing whiskey and beer.
Do you get any particular fruits or anything that stands out? Or?
I do get a bit of raisin, actually. There's just a hint of that cherry on there, but I get a bit of that raisin. It's that dried fruit. That's really what I'm pulling. It's a dried dark fruit.
It's like a candied. It's like a candied fruit. You know, it gives wrong connotations with some people, but almost like a
Fruitcake.
Fruitcake.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I get fruitcake as soon as you said candied. I was like, that's what it is. It's it's those. If you've had a good fruitcake, what you have is dark fruits that have been soaked in alcohol that are then baked into the bread. And honestly, this really sits right there.
If you really want a good fruitcake, don't age it. I've done this. Make it and then eat it fresh. It's incredible. Just say it.
Well, shoot.
All right.
Let's get a tongue on there.
Once more. Let's do it.
Well, Now, I have to say, I don't think I've had a mead before, but it's floral, it's fruity, and it's honey forward. And there's definitely an aged component to it. I don't know if what I'm tasting is normal of mead, but what I know of aged whiskeys and barrel-aged beers, it tastes like there's an aged component to this, just a hair.
So describe mouthfeel, level of sweetness.
Well, let me try it again.
Okay. Try it again. Oh, darn.
It seems like it's full-bodied in a way, but it's not heavy. It actually has a fairly light mouthfeel. It has like a full-body flavor and feel, and yet because it's light, it just kind of sits there as a medium. It flows really well. It's almost got like a light buttery, oily component to it, and I think that's the honey coming through. But yeah.
Completely coats your mouth.
Yeah.
But then it kind of fades away too.
Exactly. So that's the full mouthfeel is your mouth feels coated. You get all of the sweetness and flavor all over the place, and then it just kind of flushes out and goes away. That's why it's a nice medium body, because it doesn't linger.
Yeah, if that first, for me anyway, it feels like there's a chew to it.
Yeah.
But then it kind of settles out, which is very nice. What about on the sweetness aspect?
That is tricky because it seems very sweet forward, and yet the sweetness doesn't linger. You definitely have some lingering flavor there, and it gives you a feeling of fruit and floral honeyness to it. And yet it's not punching your face. It's not like drinking a candy or eating like a full candy.
Almost like eating a candy. It is very sweet.
It honestly almost feels like eating a piece of fruitcake. So it is sweet, but it's not overkill.
Yeah, this, for the brewing people on that side, this had an ending gravity of 1.040, which is very high. So there's a lot of sweetness on it. And I really want to do similar once again, but use a different yeast. And I kind of, as much as I like dry yeast, I want to go to White Labs, I don't remember the number, but WLP001 or the WLP, I don't know the number, but it's the California super yeast, because those work well with meads. Probably get down to that 1.025 to 1.03 range, which would be probably perfect, because this is extremely sweet.
I mean, it is. Don't get me wrong. If you're used to drinking IPAs or some bitter stouts, then by all means, this is going to be very sweet. This is going to taste more of a dessert wine or port sort of situation.
Absolutely.
When I say that it doesn't kill you, the sweetness, it's that mouthfeel that kind of drains it all out almost immediately. And it doesn't linger with sweetness. So it is very sweet,
Good
but
description.
it doesn't seem as sweet as it might be.
Yeah, because I have a light remnants of the sweetness in my mouth at this point, but it's not hanging around. You know,
It's not like I just ate a Laffy Taffy or something, or a Snickers bar, and you've just got that sitting in your mouth.
and for me, although it's very sweet and it's a different flavor, but almost it feels like a flavored brandy-esque type of a quality to it.
Sure, yeah, I can definitely see that. It's pleasant. I'm enjoying it. I don't know if I can rank it for style.
I don't think
because
I wouldn't
this
even
is
know
my
how
first, I
I wouldn't
believe.
know how to rank a mead. So I'll have to get a regular mead for Colin, because regular meads are a little more dry, and they're much less sweet, they're much lighter in feel. And I don't really personally care for commercial meads all that much. This is 11.81% ABV.
Oh no.
And it and yeah, cheers. But it doesn't quite qualify for what I call a Viking mead, but it leans in that direction. And I think of Viking meads being at least 14% and up to 17 kind of range. But to me, this is more of a Viking mead, but quite frankly, I kind of dig on that style.
It's almost reminiscent of a holiday jungle juice, if you'll pardon me.
Huh.
You don't really suspect how strong it's going to be, but it definitely has that holiday kind of flavor to it.
Anyway, thanks for coming along for the ride. And for those that have waited for a while, I just needed to get a conclusion for you.
Cheers.
Cheers.